Hello and welcome once again to Ignite Your Impact. My name is Jen Rhodes. I am seated next to Mr. Matthew Ray Rhodes.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is.
I won't keep going with the Mr. Rogers.
No, we're gonna jump in today.
Oh, we're gonna jump right in.
Jump right in. Today's gonna hit.
Today's gonna totally hit. Head first, hair on fire. Let's get our woo girl going. So today's going to be a very powerful message if you have kids. It'll be a powerful message even if you don't have kids. My prediction is some of you are going to make some really big changes because of this. So I want to make sure you stay with us through the end because there's going to be so much value in today's episode. Some of you are going to get pissed at us. So my prediction is someone's going to make some changes and someone's going to get pissed at us. Either way, great. You listened and it hit. Either way, this is all good because you need to know that this specific podcast is coming from our heart, from a place of truth.
Yeah, and I've said this before, and I don't know if I've said it on this podcast. A guy named Ben Humble said one time, you know, I'm not trying to preach at you, I'm trying to reach you. And when I say that, what I mean is I'm trying to reach you before it's too late. Because I have walked in your shoes and I got preached at and I didn't change. But finally someone reached me and that is what ripped the entire lid off of things. And that's what we're going to try and do today. So it may sound like we're doing a little bit of preaching, probably going to say some things that are going to piss you off. We are actually just trying to reach you. So stick with us through the end, as Jen said. And I know we are going to reach some people today. Mm-hmm. So we're going to jump right in.
Let's do it. I got my cough drop. Let's go.
The age-old story or thought of living out your life through your kid. It is a real thing. We see it all the time. Our listeners see it. You may be doing it and you may not see it. But I see it everywhere. Look what I made. Look at this kid. Look what I made. As you stare and look at that kid with awe that they're going to go play football somewhere or baseball somewhere or be something like that. And you look at that in awe. Now, before you get pissed and get sideways at me for saying that, because I think it's important that we should look at our kids that way, but not live our lives through them. I think it's important to point out we should be doing a lot of the things that we are probably all doing right now. We want the best things for our kids. We're going to spend our money on some of the best equipment and training we can give them if it's sports. Depending on the age, you know, I know you just can't get around from running them to practice all the time. That is just part of life sometimes. And if they're of age of driving, you're spending a lot of time talking to them about practice. Sometimes you're even coaching the team. You're doing all these things to help your kids. These are the good things. These are not the bad things. We'll get into how it can be bad here in a minute. But we're constantly telling our kids to work hard, never give up, always go after your dreams. Those are good things. That's not living your life through your kids, but it can lead to some things which we'll hit in.
Yeah. I think I'm sitting here smiling because I'm like, yeah, we did that. Yep. Pitching lessons. Yep. Batting lessons. Yep. Dance lessons. Mm-hmm.
All good stuff.
All the things. I just remember the run after school, like, oh my God. And I think we go out of our way to ensure they have the best opportunities, right? That is our job as parents, right? Give them as many opportunities as possible. It's one of the privileges that we have living in America. I'll say it till the day I'm blue in the face, right? We have so many opportunities here. And outside of sports, we support them in their schooling. We help them with their science projects. We help them with their book reports. We help them with their wax museum characters. Do you remember that?
Even if they tell us about it the day before it's
due. The day before. We
get mad, but we get in and get it done.
And as they become adolescents, you know, as they start investigating different social circles, when they have decisions to make about friend groups or boyfriends and girlfriends and like parties and all of these other things that it takes to raise what will be eventually an adult. Our role isn't just to support and guide and teach. It's not. It is to model. What is one of the top learning styles? It's play. It's modeling. They are watching us. We are giving our kids our patterns. And is it good to model those behaviors? I would say the supportive ones, yes, absolutely, right? We want our children to be empathetic human beings. However, if that is all you're building, and if that's all you're showing them, then you're teaching them that it's okay to stop once you have kids. You're teaching them this pattern. It's okay to put your life on hold so that you can drive your kids now. And I know that if you're listening, if you're still with us, you're trying to give them as good or even better childhood than you had. You are trying your best. But what you're doing is showing them and modeling for them and giving them the patterns to grow up, to maybe give up on some things. That's just not for me now. I need to make a reasonable goal. What's realistic? What's realistic for my body now? You're modeling that behavior for them to give up on their passions and their dreams and just to sink it into running the kids.
Yeah, and listening to that can hurt a little bit. You know, I know it hurt me when I realized that was my identity and that was what I was modeling for my kids. You know, when I was, say it again, when I was AKA reached, I was 30 pounds overweight. I'd given up on a lot of my dreams, and my only excitement was watching my kid do something really great on a Saturday morning game. And I was modeling for my kids that they were supposed to do the same when they were parents. Be 30 pounds overweight, not worry about your health, put all your energy and all your money into your kids and not yourself. That's what I was modeling for them. I was just passing on something that would continue for future generations, because then they're going to go model that for their kids. You know, I thought we had it made in what we were doing, and we were doing it the right way because I was working 1 million hours a week, and whenever I wasn't working, I was spending with the kids. It's not a bad concept, except for working 1 million hours a week. Jen was working a lot, but she was spending a lot of time with the kids, but she was stretched too thin. We thought that's what we were supposed to be doing, but that's what we were modeling for our kids. It wasn't until I had that reset where I got reached and I put my body image, and I'll say that, I don't care if it's vain or not, how I felt about the way I looked in the mirror when I took my shirt off. When I put that as one of my number one goals, all my other goals fell into place and everything just got better. And I know it's may or may not be tough to make that stretch between these 2 points, but my relationship with my kids got so much stronger because of that decision. The whole point of this podcast is modeling behavior. Now my kids talk openly about their dreams because I talk openly about mine. They don't just see us as loving parents. See that whole running them around and spending all the time working and doing all that, they see you as loving parents. But do they see you as an inspiration for what they want to be in the future? Because we've got a 17 and 20-year-old, and they share their deepest dreams. I mean, the deepest things, they want to build something or be somebody. When I say be somebody, it doesn't mean building $1 million business. They want to be something that matters. And they talk openly about that. And they're 17 and 20. Mm-hmm. Now, Jen and I are not perfect by any means, but this path is the correct path when we realize that we're actually modeling these behaviors for our kids to want more and do more. And I will tell you, Jen and I are blessed. We are so lucky because all of our shit came crashing down and it forced us to change. Some of you listening right now are not as lucky as us because things are okay. Things are going good. You're just going to keep flowing along until it's too late. I said at the beginning, I'm trying to reach you before it's too late, and that's what we're going to continue doing for the next few minutes. We want to reach you before it's too late, and you turn back around and you see, all you have is to look at that kid, look what I made. And then they repeat those same patterns with their kids.
Yeah.
So let's jump into a couple things that we know helped us.
For sure.
And then close it up with some reactions. So stick with us.
Yeah. I want to use, obviously, the more strategies we can give you in this type of a journey, obviously it's incredibly helpful. But number one, you need to reflect on your modeling. You need to take a step back and remove the emotion and maybe even remove the analysis and just think about the behaviors that you are modeling for your children. Do you work until 7 o'clock every night and then quick throw dinner together just to start working again until 9 p.m.? And then give them a kiss goodnight. Oh, how was your day? Okay, yeah, I'll see you in the morning. What patterns are you modeling? Are they positive and supportive? Or do they involve sacrifice? Like, do they involve sacrificing your own goals and dreams?
Yeah, you've got to recognize that your actions speak louder than words. And it's just not even with the working. It's, do you get up and go to the gym? Do you go on walks? Do you do these things? Can you consider these actions that you're modeling? Are they setting a good example for your children? And that's really what Jen's saying, is reflect on what you're doing right now and where you're at.
Yeah. Identify the patterns. But number two, prioritize self-development. Now, that's not just self-care. Prioritize your own evolution, your own development. It's important to remember that this step is not selfish. It is necessary. We are evolutionary beings. The goal is to get 1% better, right? And the more you can prioritize that pattern becomes aware to them.
Yeah, and it may sound crazy that my reset was I put myself 100% above my children and my wife and said I'm only focusing on myself to get better, because that's the person I need to become to be a better parent and be a better spouse. You got to focus on improving your physical and mental well-being and pursuing those passions and setting personal goals, because I can promise you, by doing so, you're showing your children the importance of doing that for themselves as well as they go through life.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're a gym rat. It means you
can be a gym rat.
You
at
can
3
be.
a.m.
You don't need to be. It means you put the importance on making sure that you are in your best physical and mental condition to take on your day and be the best parent you can, setting the example.
Yeah. And then number 3, communication and openness. You need to have some honest conversations, and you need to involve your children in these conversations. They're watching your patterns, and if mom and dad suddenly start doing things differently, bring them into the fold, right? Let them know that you've identified some things in yourself that you'd like to work on, and that you're making some changes. They'll keep you honest. They may not realize that you don't like that part of yourself until they've adopted it, right? The more you can encourage that open dialogue, you can share that experience of self-development with your kids.
A great example. Jen's talked before about her, is it negative self-talk?
Oh, yeah.
So
I had yucky talk.
But when she started to make this change, we would correct our kids as well. And if you're doing it that way, you're preaching at them, and they're never going to get it. So this open communication, which goes back to why they share their dreams and hopes with us now. But that open communication, Jen said, here's something I'm working on myself. And it reached our kids and they're like, oh, this is something you're really trying to change. You're not just telling us that we need to do this. And it opened that up for them. And it's a transparent environment that you're creating that promotes growth. It encourages your children to develop healthy patterns and understand they're not perfect and they're going to be making changes, and helping set those future goals to be a better person by being open. Too many parents want to try and be just a parent all the time. Mm-hmm. It's okay to let your guard down and share these things with your kids. Because I'm telling you, that is back where my relationship got so damn strong with my kids, when I let my guard down and said, I'm just a human trying to do good every day.
Yeah. I would even say, we say involve your kids in your goals because they'll keep you accountable. Same thing here. Involve your kids in your self-development, because the minute I brought the children into that journey, like Matt was already recognizing and helping me correct that pattern. But the kids started, and boy, they'll keep you honest. I mean, honest, like they're at the point where they haven't fully adopted a pattern for their entire life.
Yep.
So they can self-correct immediately. You're helping build them while you're building yourself. Win-win. But please know that recognizing and correcting these behaviors is a journey. We are not perfect. I will say over the last 3 years, I'm probably a 98% on my self-talk. I still catch myself in certain behaviors. But this level of evolution requires self-reflection, and it requires consistent effort, and it requires teamwork, honestly. But by making these changes, you can positively influence your children's lives and help them develop into independent, resilient, empathetic adults.
Yeah, and I think what we've been trying to say here is, if you're doing all those things to help your kids out, I'm not saying you're a bad parent.
Hardly.
That's not where I'm going with that. But if you're not doing the other side of modeling the behaviors of being a healthy person that has goals and dreams, then you're missing out on the biggest part about being a parent. Not just protecting them and taking care of them, but setting them up for the real future for generations to go. And everything we've just said, if you're saying, well, man, you sure are saying I'm not being a good parent, well, then that's where we're at. And I want you to step back right now. And I want you to think long and hard. What are you modeling for your kids? Specifically in the health, body image, goals. What are you modeling for them right now? What patterns are you showing them that it's okay to do when they become your age? Because that's exactly what you're doing. And I'm guessing if you're sitting back right now thinking about those things, you're probably going to have one of three reactions to what we've said today. And I hope it's not this first one. But the first one is you're going to get really pissed and say something like, you guys just don't understand. I'm doing just fine. My kid's going to do great in life based off of what I say to them and not what I actually do. They're going to do as I say, not as I do. Mm. If you fall into that category, maybe I am saying you're being a bad parent.
Yeah. That's powerful, but
if this is pissing you off and you feel that way, I can't do anything about that. The second one, though, instead of getting pissed, you're excited because you're either on your way or you're there to having that self-image that is really good, and you're setting that example, and you're proud of yourself, and you're working towards your dreams and possibly building something as well. So you've listened to this podcast and said, hell yeah, I've done this. This is where I'm at. I feel good. I'm glad you're just reiterating that I'm setting my children up for a good future. And the third one is you get really excited as well, and you say, I'm not on the right path. But this fucking hit with me today. This hit somewhere that I didn't even know it was going to hit. This could be a beginning of a completely new you when you start looking at the way you model your life for your kids.
That's it. I hope this got you guys not only right between the eyes, but right in the heart too. I'm happy that it happened to us. I'm happy that we can share our journey as well. But it's up to you. You get to decide which path you're on. And you get to decide which path is your future. And you get to decide what patterns you make into legacies. And believe it or not, that decision dictates the future for your kids. Guys, I hope this hit. I hope this helps you evolve and to continue to evolve. If you liked it, share it with someone you think will find value in it. Tag us in your Insta stories. Give us a 5-star review. That's the only way we can grow this thing so that we can keep bringing you more value. And if anything, y'all, we'll talk to you next time.